My friends, welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. I hope you all are doing well. I just made it to where I'm going to camp at tonight. I came down here a handful of months ago and this area was clear. A few months have passed and this huge tree has fallen, basically blocking my access with the vehicle to the campsite. Overall, this is not a big deal, but it's interesting enough. Anyways, it is a cool day up here in the mountains. Right now we're looking at 28 degrees. Later on tonight, we'll check out the weather forecast. There is the possibility of some snow later on tonight going into tomorrow morning. Is that going to happen? I do not know. We will find out together. All that I do know for certain is that it feels incredible today. It's not super windy, not super cold. It is just about perfect. First things first, I need to set up the tent. Wait until you see this. This is a shelter that you all have not seen on the channel here for 2 years, maybe? Something like that. It's quite unique. The shelter that I have with me for this trip is a motorcycle tent. Let's be honest here, that's what the company calls it, but this is way too big for a motorcycle. It doesn't matter what you're cruising around on, you're not going to have enough space for this. While this tent may not be good on a motorcycle, it is fantastic when traveling around with your vehicle. This is a tunnel tent, and it's one of the largest tunnel tents you can buy. There aren't many tunnel tents that you can stand up underneath, but this one, you can. It is that big. Every single side has a door. That means there are 4 doors. One in the back, one in the front, this side, that side. This tent is awesome. A viewer made this for me some time back, and I really appreciate it. The craftsmanship is awesome, it's razor sharp, and you've seen how it's come in very handy on this trip. The ground here is absolutely frozen solid, and the only way that I got those tent stakes in the ground was pounding them in with this here. To the individual who made this for me, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Unfortunately, folks, the winds are picking up. We're having gusts over 25 miles an hour. I knew I spoke too soon. You know, when I was talking about the weather conditions, I spoke too soon. Hopefully, the wind calms down so we can have a fire later on tonight. It has gone from being beautiful to being miserable just like that. Within 30 minutes, the winds have picked up. With the cool conditions that we have already, throw in 25-mile-an-hour winds and yeah, it doesn't feel good to be out in it, that's for sure. As far as the time goes, it's about 4 o'clock. The sun is making its way down now. And again, those winds are just picking up. I'm thinking about closing the awning, firing up the heater, and just hunkering down for a bit. Maybe go ahead, make some coffee, something like that. Speaking of the heater, I have the Covia Cupid with me for this trip. Just in case you don't know it, the Covia Cupid is a South Korean product. It is available worldwide for the most part. It is fantastic. It really is. Small form factor, runs on butane, puts out a ton of heat, the perfect amount of heat for a shelter like this. For anything larger than this, you would want a buddy heater, but for a smaller tent, this works great. This is such a good product that virtually all of my YouTube buddies own one now. Seriously, everyone, it is fantastic. At the same time, it's rather inexpensive. Unfortunately, I brought this stove with me instead of the stove, or I should say the heater that I wanted to. There's a brand new heater slash stove from Nature Hike. Unfortunately, it did not arrive by the time I was ready to go, so I brought the Covia with me instead. But stay tuned, everyone. I have a wild looking heater stove thing to show you. I can't wait to test that out. Possibly I'll do that next week. For now, everyone, let's go ahead, let's make coffee. Don't seal this up yet. Let's see what the weather has in store for us. If I make coffee and it's still windy, I'll just seal it up and just call it done and we'll just hunker down. But I'm definitely ready for some coffee. Unfortunately, the wind has not slacked off. If anything, it's more steady than it was before, more consistent or constant or whatever. I tell you, that is bitter cold on your face. Woo! Ladies, don't you wish you had a nice beard to keep you warm? I'm really glad women don't have beards, but that's just me, you know what I mean? I'm sorry your faces have to be cold, but never mind. Anyways, don't listen to me, folks. In fact, just go ahead and turn the video off now. I understand. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Let me tell you all the weather for this location. So it says here, currently it is 21 degrees Fahrenheit. The low tonight is 12 degrees with wind gusts up to 20 miles an hour, sustained at 9. This morning, it said there was a chance of snow tomorrow morning. It no longer says that's going to happen. Either way, it is going to be a cool night. Luckily, my sleep system, it's awesome. It's an old Mammut sleeping bag that's rated for like 0 or something. I bought it off of eBay a long time ago. It's so ugly, it's awesome. The outside is green, the inside is purple. I just love that bag. I have the good sleeping bag, the good sleeping pad, and I also have my heater in addition to the heating pad. All of those components are going to come together to keep me warm tonight. As it stands right now, I don't know if I will have a fire or not. I could get a fire going very easily, yes, but the wind will simply blow the heat away. So it's one of those things where you get the fire going, you basically have to stand on top of it to stay warm. And I don't really like fires like that. You really don't get to relax around fires like that. But we'll see. If the winds calm down, I will definitely have a fire, but as it stands right now, I'm thinking no. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Woo! Let's get out of this wind. I'll tell you what, everyone, let's take a second here. Let's do a little bit of talking before I make dinner. Speaking of dinner, dinner tonight is going to be amazing. Beef tips, mashed potatoes, oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm just about ready to seal up this tent, mainly because I'm cold. I'm ready to get the heater going and just warm up just a little bit. Overall, this is the nicest day that we've had in like 2 months. I kid you not. Even with the wind, this is the nicest day. We have been in this cold pattern for, well, let me tell you this. This will give you a good idea of just how rough it's been of a winter. So I haven't been able to make it out to Lone Wolf Mountain in almost 2 months. Too much ice, too much snow. At home, we have almost a foot of snow on the ground, and it's been there since December. When I say rough, I'm just saying rough compared to like the last handful of years where it's just been super, super warm, very rainy. We've actually had a good winter, you know, like every couple of days it snows 3 or 4 inches. We've had a couple of good snowstorms that dropped, 9 inches here, 6 inches there, and so on. But yeah, it's been cold. The last 2 weeks have been especially cold. Highs like 10, 12, lows around 0. When like the last couple of years, like cold is like, 32 degrees, 0 is shocking. But it's not close to being like record-breaking cold. Record-breaking cold for this time of year is around negative 34 degrees Fahrenheit. So the truth is, I've been spoiled by like this really nice warm weather. I miss it right now, you know what I mean? It's like, I love the cold, but like, let me say this, okay? I was thinking about this the other day. I love when it snows, right? But like the next day, I want it to melt and disappear. Otherwise, it really makes your life complicated. Having just ice everywhere, But yes, I'm spoiled. I think a lot of us are. That's kind of how it goes, but oh man. Just being inside of the tent here, the wind is being blocked. It is super, super nice. This, everyone, is really, really nice. Just a little bit of heat to take the edge off, you know what I mean? This tent here isn't the best winter tent because of ventilation. As you can see here, we have a lot of ventilation, but still, this little heater, it can keep up as long as it's not like crazy, crazy windy. I mean, already, this is making a huge difference. That is incredible. The buttery mashed potatoes, the beef tips, the gravy, perfect combo. This was so simple, but yet it is so good. Something else, I am so glad I'm not outside right now. It is so windy. It is just like miserable out there. Good friends, good food. We got some heat here. This is nice. This tent is nice. It was designed to fit a motorcycle in this space here. And you can, there's enough space, but like the tent itself, when it's stored, is so big. Where on earth are you going to put that on your typical motorcycle? Most people would not attach something like this to their bike. Most wouldn't. There's going to be someone who's like, I did it. They'll be the only one. You know what I mean? It's been almost 4 months since Hurricane Helene has hit this area, and to give you all an update on what's taken place since then, a lot of repairs have been done. I've already spoken about the repairs at my place, the damage and so on, so I'm not going to touch upon that again. Everything at my place is pretty much good. I do have the creek problem, the culvert problem, but none of that stuff really threatens my home. Now it's just a big inconvenience, you know what I mean? Anyways, as far as the area goes here in Western North Carolina, infrastructure is being repaired, and that's great. We're talking about roads, bridges, power lines, all that stuff. The biggest problem and the aspect that's been the slowest is housing. So in Western North Carolina, I want to say there was 3,200 people who lost their homes, who have been put up in hotels by FEMA and stuff like that. Well, as far as I know, as of right now, the funding for Western North Carolina through FEMA has pretty much come to an end. The last thing that I saw was that those individuals who were in the hotels had to leave by a certain date coming up. Now, of course, things could change. You know, the governor may do something, President Trump may do something, I don't know. There's always the possibility of things changing, but as it stands right now, it sounds like those individuals will have to leave. The question is, where do they go? What do they do? And I have no idea. I have no idea. It's not like you can just bring these people like trailers, RVs, or even build them small, tiny homes. There's so much red tape involved in all of this stuff. It truly is mind-blowing. For an example, we had some Pennsylvania Amish come down here to Western North Carolina, and they built, I don't remember, it was 15 or 12. It was either 12 or 15 tiny homes. All of those homes are sitting on the side of the road rotting, and they've been there for months. And it's because of all of the government red tape. We're talking about permitting, power, we're talking about septic systems, all of that stuff. It's not as simple, even though maybe it should be, but it's not. You can't just bring these things in and set them on the ground and have people stay in them, according to the local governments. Over the last couple of years here in the mountains of Western North Carolina, because prepping is so popular, because of like off-grid living is so popular thanks to TV shows and so on, most of the areas up here have put regulations in place. There's nothing to stop you from bringing in a tiny home or an RV or something like that, but you cannot hook up power to those. Not unless you invest in a septic system. If you know anything about installing septic systems, they could be unbelievably expensive, especially here in the mountains. You're talking about digging through rock, drilling through rock, blasting through rock. It doesn't take much for you to dig down to hit rock here. So, septic systems can cost $50,000, maybe even more. It just depends. So it's like you're talking about people who have lost everything, who have to put in septic systems, and they don't have the money for it, of course, you know. In general, the average Joe here in Western North Carolina lives right at the poverty line as far as their income goes and stuff like that. The cost of living up here is very high. Income is very low because there's not many jobs up here. There's not much competition up here. So, yeah, there's a lot going against a lot of people as it stands right now. A lot of hardships. I don't know. I'm not sure how it's going to all pan out. Some areas have gotten a lot of money, a lot of help, while other areas have gotten virtually nothing, so. All of this is very complicated, and I'm not the person for the answers or anything like that, but everyone feels the exact same way that I do. You have all of these homes being brought in for people who need them, who can't use them. You know, now is the time to bend some rules, to change the regulations, you know? Pass some measures for emergency use so people can have a place to stay. Something is better than nothing. It's amazing to me. This isn't a radical idea, right? This is just plain common sense. It's like a lot of people, they watch the news, they read the headlines, and it sounds like things are great, you know? The Amish have come in and built 12 or 15 small homes for people. What they don't tell you is that nobody can use them and that they're sitting on the side of the road rotting. Pretty crazy, huh? Everyone, it is perfect in here. I mean, it is almost plumb hot. Now, of course, I do have proper ventilation. I have the door over here open. This door here is also open, so we don't have to worry about anything, of course. But, whew. I mean, I can lay on top of my sleeping pad and sleeping bag, and I am toasty warm. It's amazing. Outside, the winds are ferocious. Yeah, I wanted a fire tonight, but that just did not happen. You know, oftentimes with YouTube, people, well, content creators, they will have a fire even when it doesn't make sense to do so. If you're familiar with camping, you can spot when it makes sense and when it doesn't, you know? You can spot when, like, it's content versus real life. With this camping trip here, you can see what's real. I mean, it's super windy outside. There's no point in having a fire. It's simply going to blow the heat away. To stay warm, to enjoy it, you would have to stand right over the top of it, getting smoke in your face. Anyways, everyone, I am going to kick back and watch a movie. Let's see what I have here to watch tonight. It looks like I have downloaded The Hunt for the Red October. Oh yeah, I love that movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but it is fantastic. I read the book of that, and I'd say the movie and the book are pretty much tied. I like both. Yeah. So, everyone, I'm going to say goodnight for now. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot, real quick. I took a look at the weather one more time before turning in, and it changed once again. A slight chance of snow before 4 a.m., increasing clouds, 20% chance. You never know. We might get just a little bit of snow tonight, maybe. folks, good morning. It's a little bit after 6:30. The sun is coming up. I slept good last night, but I did have a weird experience. I didn't look at the time, so I'm not entirely sure what time it happened. But I was laying in bed here. I had finished up my movie. I was basically going to go to sleep. And I heard talking. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could hear like the syllables. You know what I mean? The change of tone. And it sounded like it was two people talking back and forth. I don't like people walking around my campsite. So I got my boots on and I stepped out and I said, "Hey!" Heard nothing, but like a few minutes later, some dog up on top of this mountain started going crazy. I'm not even sure if there's even a house up there, but somebody was roaming around here. I don't think they knew that I was camping here. I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, if they were trying to be stealthy, they sucked at it. But this would be a really weird place to go walking around. There's no towns out here. There's nothing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. I definitely heard something. I think I scared them off. I don't know. That's just how I act when it comes to like my campsites. Some people, when they hear things, they'll just sit and wait and listen and kind of hope for the best. I'd rather just approach it like head on, you know? If somebody's up to no good, let's just go. Let's do it. I tell you, everybody, it feels so good inside of this inner. It is toasty warm. On the other side of this wall, though, it is freezing cold. Let me show you all the difference between temperatures. There is something that I can show you that will tell you all that you need to know. It is that cold on the other side, folks. So cold that my water has almost frozen completely solid. Inside here, 60 degrees. On the other side, it's like 15. Yeah, I mean, that thing is almost frozen completely solid. Look at that. That's crazy. Anyways, folks, it is coffee time. I think what I'm going to do is heat it up in here instead of going on that side. It's just cold over there. It'd take a long time to like warm that up. Let me show you all a little secret, something that you can do if you have a lantern like this. Check this out. As you all can see there, that is just a simple way to heat up your coffee in the morning. You do have to be careful with the balancing, but if you get it right, it works perfectly. Here in a few minutes, this coffee will be warmed up, de-thawed, de-iced, and ready to drink. It's amazing how much heat this little lantern puts out. The Covia Cupid with this lantern inside of here is almost unbearable when they're like on high. It's almost too hot. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Good morning. The morning doesn't officially start until you have coffee in hand. Something I need to do is some shout outs. I am finally getting back on track with all of that. So, the first shout out goes out to Mark. Mark, my friend, I am very sorry to hear about the passing of your father. he sounds like he was a good man, and I'm sorry. Keep pushing forward. Things will get easier in time. Dennis, my friend, thank you so much for writing and for sending in the snow pictures from the coast. That is pretty wild. Those locations do not get snow very often. Sherry, my friend, you are too funny and too sweet. Basically, in a previous adventure, I talked about slimming down some, dropping some muscle, and she told me not to do that because I'm hot, hot, hot. She also said that I was once a skinny dweeb, which is really funny. I was definitely skinny. I always liked to run, had a very thin frame and all that stuff. And then I decided to pack on a bunch of muscle. More of an experiment than anything else. But I haven't heard the term dweeb in a long time. Not since like the 80s, maybe. I don't even remember exactly what it meant. This cheers is for you all. Cheers. I tell you what, I'm going to turn this off, put my jacket on. Why don't we step outside of the tent? Let's see what the day looks like. This, everyone, is a pretty wild tree. This broke during the hurricane. It is compromised. The inside is completely rotten, but it's laying up on top of this tree here, and it's gonna stay there for a long time. I'm not sure if you all can see it, but it is snowing just a little bit. It's a flurry. Yep. At the same time, everyone, it is cold this morning. About 12 degrees. When you go from like 65 to 12, it's a shock to your system. I'm shocked right now, you know what I mean? Luckily, the coffee is good. This campsite is good. Oh yeah. Last night, everybody, it was so warm in there that I was able to take off my pants. Underneath, I have thermals on, leggings, or whatever you want to call them. I noticed that these merino wool leggings are covered in holes. Just in case you do not know this, merino wool has a shelf life, so to speak. As soon as you buy it, it's going to begin to degrade. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get like multiple years worth of use out of it, but you're going to have holes popping up sooner rather than later. So I was looking at these leggings and like the crotch is completely gone. There's holes all over the place. It looks like I've been attacked by like a cat or something. The funny thing is that my merino wool top that I have underneath my fleece jacket here and underneath this down jacket, it's exactly the same way. Just holes all over the place. But yet, both of these articles of clothing keep me nice and warm. It's kind of funny. Even with all of the holes in this merino wool, these articles of clothing are going to continue to last for a long time. Hey, the snow is picking up just a little bit. And so are the winds. Great. Just great. Whew. At 12 degrees, any breeze is bad. Luckily, the sun will be up here in a few minutes. That is going to help a lot. Ultimately, everyone, this tent did awesome last night. Again, this is not a 4-season tent, but luckily it does have that fabric inner on the inside, and that was able to hold in so much heat. This was awesome. When was the last time that you saw a tunnel tent this big, this tall? 99% of the tunnel tents out on the market today you cannot stand up in, but this one here you can. That is impressive. At the same time, for motorcycle camping, this is ridiculous. The storage bag on that is like this long and like this wide. Good luck fitting that on your motorcycle. You know, folks, with the people who are walking the road here, I couldn't tell which way they were going, but I bet you I startled them. You know, I don't want to startle anybody. That's, you know, if people are out just walking, having a good time, that's one thing. But yet, like 2 o'clock in the morning, that's a little bit weird. Out here, that's especially bizarre. What would you have done? Would you have stayed in the tent to see if they went on, or would you have stepped out and said something? For me, my perspective is I'd rather be proactive. If something's going on, I want to know. Considering the location, where I'm at, how strange it would be for people to be walking around talking and laughing and stuff. Plus my vehicle's over there. In my mind, I made the right call. What do you all think? Comment down below. You know, everyone, now that I'm looking at this area here, these trees have been brought in and dumped here for some reason. Initially, I was thinking that they, you know, something had fallen here, it was chopped up and put here, but that's not the case. These trees were brought in. Why dump it here, you dumb assholes? You know? God, people are so weird. I love this tree here. It almost looks like it was bent purposely for the sake of this tent. It goes up and around. That is very cool. Well, everybody, with the sun coming up, I think it's time to pack up and to head out of here. want to thank you all very much for joining me for this trip. I hope you had a good time just like I did. This was a fun trip off of the mountain somewhat. You know, everybody, I am so glad it is now 14 degrees outside. If it was warmer, this road would be nothing but mud. It would be unbelievable. All of that back there is part of a landslide that took place during the hurricane. On this road alone, there's 4 or 5 of those. One of the slides is being rebuilt right now. Anyways, everybody, I'm going home. I want to wish you all well. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate it. If you had a good time, hit the thumbs up. Oh yeah. If you want to join the Wolf Pack, you can do so on Patreon, on YouTube. I do appreciate it. Again, everybody, this channel is agenda free. I use the products that I want to use. I purchase the products that I want to use. Everything you see in these videos, it's mine. I paid for it. There's no sponsors on this channel ever, and there never will be. Folks, be well, stay warm, strength and honor. Bye for now.